Welcome to Integrity Inspire, your daily dose of inspiration and motivation, featuring the bright and talented members of the Integrity Marketing Group family. Now, here's your host, Integrity co-founder and CEO, Brian Adams.
Well, hey, thank you very much. Really appreciate everybody joining today's Inspire podcast. Really excited about this one. We started this about a week ago, really talking about how can we communicate more? How do we, especially as we're working remote, how do we really spend time connecting together? And you see this in a lot of really successful industries, right? I mean, the stock market and the investment houses out there have for years, back into before I was born, had these things called Squawk Box, right? And now there's even on CNBC a show called Squawk Box. But the Squawk Box idea was that people would get on, share best ideas, best practices before the day began, to get everybody ready to go and focus on the business going forward. And so that's the idea of this Inspire podcast here is as we get on here, we want to share ideas. We want to also expose you to leaders within the organization and people that a lot of you may not ever really have the opportunity to get to know personally. And we want to let people get to know these leaders personally, get to hear from their years of experience, because as you've seen, these guys have been through a lot, and they have really figured out ways to continue to grow even in scary and difficult times in the past, that they've continued to grow their business. And so today I am excited to welcome Mike Wingate, co-founder of Integrity, one of my partners. In fact, Mike and I have been partners for 17 years. Mike is also co-founder of Premier Marketing, and one of the principals there, him and his brother-in-law, Tom Sheath, originally had that. In fact, it even goes back to 1968 when Mike's dad and Tom's father-in-law, Skip Wingate, started the business, and then they acquired the business, renamed it to Premier, and really just took off. And they took off in a way that no one expected. They had about 300 agents when they partnered with that business. And as of today, they've got over 40,000 agents at Premier. And so the leadership that those guys have done it's just simply mind-blowing. In fact, I left my career in 2003 to join them at Premier. And then we started Integrity, and I'll never forget whenever we started Integrity, the whole concept was if we all come together, if we forget about kind of who gets the credit, lay down our swords essentially, stop competing with each other, and start collaborating with each other. If we all came together, we would all do more. We'd all do better. And a lot of that was because of Mike and Tom's kind of philosophy on bringing in partners and really focusing on partners first. And I'm a good example of that, because I would never be where I am today without Mike and Tom and them allowing me to join as partners. I've actually known Mike for about 20 years. One thing that I've always heard Mike say, and he's never wavered on this, is that this is a relationship business, and we always have to focus on the relationship first and foremost above anything else. And no one does that better than Mike Wingate. And so wanted to have Mike join us today. Mike, are you there with us?
I sure am. Good morning, Integrity family. How's everyone doing?
Hey, brother. Hey, thank you very much. It's just a lot of fun to have you on here and just have a chance to just kind of visit with you. I know most of the people today know who you are. They may have read about you. They've seen things that you guys have done. They've certainly, a lot of them have competed with what you and Tom created at Premier and everything that you guys have done. But a lot of them may not know some of your background. So, Mike, do you mind just kind of starting off, just kind of how did you get in the business? Just kind of some of the kind of early stories, if you got them.
Well, you bet, Brian. It's kind of funny because I've got college. My daughter is just graduating college right now this year, and with a little change with the coronavirus has affected all of us. So looking back and talking about that, most people go to college and soul searching where they're going to go, what they're going to do in life. And growing up in this business, it was my father being in the business my whole entire life growing up. I was in college looking at things and where to go and trying to figure out what everybody was trying to do there when I knew what I wanted to do. So I took that 4 years of college and fast-tracked it and got out of there in 2. So I decided I'd give this insurance business a try, and it worked for me. So
let's clarify that.
Yeah.
Let's clarify that, Mike. So just for everybody here, just so that everybody understands, when you talk about fast track it, what does that mean?
Well, that means I partied a little more than I probably should have, and had to get out of college or go back and start over.
Well, for this shows people that was like I know I'm sure it's funny now. You're literally one of the most successful guys I know, period. And also one of the most fun guys. So I understand why you decided to do something else, but you didn't have to have a college degree to be one of the most successful people I ever met, and that never even slowed you down one bit, did it?
It wasn't for everybody, and a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, and driving forward is. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew where I wanted to go, and you just go forward and never look back.
That's right.
Yeah. So I did that. Got into selling insurance, and back in those days, there was never such a thing as leads, and our leads were butterflies on homes, and you knocked on the doors and you figured out who was the people in town that were 65 plus, and once you got in one door, you picked up a phone book and you had them go through a couple of pages with you and give you all your their friends that you can now go and knock on those doors with. So it made it quite difficult back in those days, but I wasn't quite as bad. Jim got to talk a little bit about how many calls he made. Well, I had to make a lot of calls to get my first sale, but it wasn't quite that many. But I will never forget my first sale, and it lasted about 30 days before she canceled on
me. Charge back.
Yeah, charge back for
you got to learn a couple of new things. You got to learn how to make commission and then also charge back.
And how to charge back. That's right. So it.
Hey, wait, hold on. You said something about butterflies. You said something about butterflies on houses. What was that all about?
Yeah, so we quickly learned that seniors love to have ornaments in their yards, but most importantly, in small towns in the Midwest, they love butterflies, and they love to have butterflies on the houses. And so, if you knew there was butterflies out there, you knew that there was a good chance they were going to be 65 plus in our marketplace to sell insurance to. So
that's awesome.
So if you have butterflies in your house, good chance someone's going to be knocking on the door someday.
As you know, I started out door knocking in college myself. In fact, my first sell, it took me a long time. I was not very good at it, so I went and did something else. But my first sell, finally, I made $1,200 in commissions. And I was making $5.10 an hour, Eddie Bauer, beforehand. And literally, whenever I got that $1,200, it was more than money than I'd ever made in my life. I was just shocked. So I quit my job and I just focused on insurance. But I was in college, so all I did was buy a bunch of beer and bought everybody drinks for a while. And then all of a sudden, 30 days later, mine too canceled, and I learned the term chargeback, which made me then go, oh crap, I either need to do this or not, and makes you go out and really appreciate it and work harder. A lot of the people on this call have never, frankly, ever been in a home, never even dreamt of going into a home, sitting across the kitchen table, helping people like the 270,000 agents that we've got across the country that do this every day. So you've got some unique experience of that the people on today's podcast here would really benefit from. Do you have any stories about going into a home and helping people get the coverage that they need?
that's the most important thing that we're here to do, and that's to serve others and help others. And when you're out there in the field and you're calling on people, it's, I've had clients sit down and cry in front of you when you've been helping them on a funeral product because they had no idea where or how they were going to pay for that funeral. Helping them with their Medicare, their health insurance, knowing that, those days and those hospital bills are going to add up on them, and they know that they got that protection. And it's the greatest feeling in the world when a customer calls you and gives you a thank you for helping them out, especially after a time of need and things. So that's the thing that we got to remember, that's what we're the ultimate job that we're all doing today is helping that customer out, trying to get them to a point to where we give them the protection and everything they need. So, and as an agent out there, it becomes a lonely world. You're going from door to door. You're driving many miles a lot of times out there to go from one appointment to another. And we're their only, as a marketer, we're their only ally that they really have in this business, because they're going to turn to you to ask you questions. They're going to brag on themselves. They're going to be down when they call you, and you're going to be there to pick them back up. And that's where I go back to that relationship. At the end of the day, that we don't sell cars, we don't sell clothing, we don't sell furniture, we don't sell anything that we can touch and feel. What we're selling is relationships. And we have relationships is management with carriers. The marketers have a relationship with the agents, and the agents have a relationship with the consumers. And so we want to make sure that we drive that relationship and build that to a point where your agents will never want to leave you and continue to be with you.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah. So as Tom and I, we grew and knocked a lot of doors over the years. And one of the things that we wanted to do, and that's what we learned being out there in the field, that it was a lonely, lonely place. And so one of the things that we wanted to bring to the table as we started recruiting and building and growing Premier was that, feel of family and being able to help people out. Because when an agent's down, and this is a great time of that right now, that with the coronavirus and people are stuck in their homes and agents are trying to figure out a different way to sell right now, where to go, what to do, they're relying on us right now to give them ideas and opportunities to learn from and directions to go. And so as we were doing that, going from knocking doors and selling insurance to recruiting agents, and Tom and I, we built up an organization. It was just him and I and two other people at the office. That one was doing basically sending in all the policies, scrubbing the business. One was running the office and helping out, and Tom and I were recruiting. We would recruit agents on Monday, Tuesday. On Wednesday, we would field kits, and there was no such thing as email back then, so we would send out the kits. On Thursday, we would follow back up on the kits from 2 weeks ago, and on Friday, Tom and I filled supplies and shipped supplies out to agents. But through all of that, we continued to learn the business and grow the business, and we finally got to a point where we decided it was time to hire another marketer and kind of duplicate what we did. So we hired John Pieper, which maybe a lot of you have gotten to know over the years on the phone here. But funny thing is that we forgot to tell John that we closed at, I think, noon back at that time on Friday. And so we had John in the back room, basically in a closet recruiting. And we all left to set the alarms. And next thing we know, the cops were calling, and someone had broke into the building. Well, it was John just trying to get out of the building. He was back there working till 5. Didn't realize that we had closed down. Well, we kind of forgot to tell him. Yeah, so.
John's never worked till 5 again after that, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kidding, John. I love you, man.
Yep. But one of the things that my dad has taught me over the years is we grew up under him, and he had a great organization at the time, and he built it up to where he was running 7 states for one company. In his heyday, he had about 300 agents, and when Tom and I came in and started recruiting, I think he had about 30 agents left, and we were two of those. So, but one of the things that he taught us, and over the years, and it's held out to be so true, and AC talked about all the crisis and all the things that he's lived through, which I didn't know he was that old, by the way, but he's lived through a lot. The changes bring opportunities, and that's where we're at right now in our lifetime, is that this coronavirus and the changes that were taking place right now are bringing tremendous opportunities to each and every one of you in recruiting and showing agents how to build on the next lifetime of product selling right now. So we've been working so hard on bringing technology to the agents and showing them how they can sell over the phone, and all the carriers have been trying to do it for quite some time. But now we're at a point where people have the opportunity to step forward, to set appointments, to take applications over the phone. And we have so many products with the new products and things that we have right now to be able to bring to agents that they've never had before. The opportunities are abundant to them all. And the great thing that we have right now, a lot of them are sitting at home waiting for you to dial the phone and talk to them. I encourage everyone to continue to not only reach out to your existing agents, but call and recruit the agents that you haven't recruited yet, and the ones that you know that are in the business, and build that relationship with them. And while you're on the phone, you want to talk to your agents about, find out first of all and foremost how this is affecting them and what we can possibly do to maybe make their lives better, and take other experiences that you learn from other agents and what they're doing right now. You're going to find ideas as you talk to one agent to be able to bring that to the next agent and tell them about a great idea in life experiences that they're having right now. So, with all the products, we definitely want to tell them about all of our new products. But more importantly, it's a great time for them to go back to their existing customers too and start cross-selling. You might have only sold them a Medicare supplement, but what about now talking about final expense, short-term care, long-term care, a life product, annuities? Annuity sales right now, I would think everybody's going to want to talk about annuities right now with the stock market the way it is. So it's a great time to introduce your agents to maybe another co-marketer in your office or someone in the family that can give them some additional product and additional knowledge. And as you're doing all this, you're building relationships with them. And one of the most important things I always did when I was on the phone talking to agents, I always tried to pick up one item that when I called them back, I could put it in the notes. And maybe it was one of their kids had a program. Maybe it was their mother having a surgery. And you always try to remember that, put it in the notes so you can break the ice with that on that next call. And those agents, as you talk to them, they remember that and that you were able to bring something up that we talked to before. And all of that just helps build that relationship. And as you think about it, your best agents you have the best relationships with. And why is that? Because you're constantly talking to them. They're calling you with questions. You're calling them with answers on applications. But your worst agents are somebody else's best agents. And those are the ones you really need at this point in time to be building relationships with, because they're happy where they're at. But let's bring them something that they're not getting in the other places right now. Bring them over to the Integrity family and show them some of the new ideas and thoughts and things that we can do for them to help them grow in this business right now. And then the last thing that I would talk to agents with that you're on the phone with today is most important right now is what are their plans when this is over? If they're going to sit around and wait for this to be over, there's going to be another 30 days before they're back in business themselves because they don't know where to go or what to do. When you're not giving appointments, you're not staying sharp. If you're not mailing leads or having a direction to go. So what I would encourage each and every one of your agents to do out there is we have lead companies. We got some of the best leads in the industry right now, is to mail leads and so that way they can get on the phone and start selling insurance and because not only are the agents, a lot of them sitting at home, but all of the consumers are. And they're waiting for someone to call them. They got nothing better to do to talk to somebody about insurance right now. So if we can get them to mail some leads that's going to get them back on the phones. And when this is over, it's going to give them directions to go. And we're not going to have a time and period where they're stalled out waiting and trying to figure out what to do and have leads coming in and everything else. So I would really encourage them to get a jump start on that and give them some direction. Spend some money on themselves to invest in their business, and that'll get them out there and it'll make them work that much harder.
Man, Mike, you've given us a lot to think about. And one thing I love about you, Mike, is you're consistent. You're consistent with pretty much everything that in your life. And one of them is you've always said this in good times when we're just roaring, and in bad times. And so Mike is also on the board of directors, one of the largest shareholders of Integrity. We have been in board meetings when we would be talking about things, and Mike would say, everybody stop. This is a relationship business. We have to focus on the people first and foremost. And if we do that, then we won't even have to worry about any of these other things. And so you've always been consistent about that. And one of the things you're talking about is how you build relationships, is building relationships. And you've always said this too, is we've got one of the toughest jobs in the world, is we're building relationships, and we're doing it primarily over the phone. And so one of the things I took away from this call, there were several things, but one of them you talked about is pick up on that one item. If somebody says, man, I've got a health issue, or I've got something going on with my kid's soccer game or whatever, write that down in your notes. Most all of you have some sort of CRM system that you can have in your notes. Most of you have great CRM systems, I should say, that you can say, hey, Mike, I know your daughter was planning on graduating this year. Tell me about that, man. How's she going to handle that with this whole coronavirus and not being able to be at school? Tell me more about that. Is she disappointed? Is she upset? Like if I start asking that line of questioning, right, Mike? Let's just play that. Let's play that out for this group. Like Lexi, like, man, I feel bad for her, honestly. Like, what does that mean for her senior year of college? I know you guys were gearing up, ready for her to go and have graduation in May. What's her emotions like right now? What's going on with her?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird for them because we're looking forward to graduating and finishing out college classes, and now they're doing them online, and so it's a little change now. The biggest change for me is that her and her boyfriend have come down and stayed with me for 10 days, and every 3 days we go get a week's worth of alcohol.
well, like I said, you're always consistent, bro. You're always consistent. So I know, like Austin, your son, is also getting married, I believe, in June, right? Him and Alicia.
Yeah, in June, yeah.
They've been planning this wedding. They've got a lot of plans there. What are their thoughts right now? I mean, what are they thinking?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a scary situation there too. You know, they've been planning the wedding and had a capsule bachelor and bachelorette parties and showers and so June 6th they plan on getting married one way or another, and hopefully it's in front of all the guests and friends. So we'll take it one day at a time, and so it's this is definitely something that's affected everybody.
Well, I can tell you, Robin, I'll be there if all this thing clears up. But what I want to point out there, and appreciate you doing that, like just having that quick interchange, right? Is now we're not talking about business. Now this is personal, right? This is
that's true.
Man, you know about me. I mean, Mike and I had a call this morning. The first thing he asked is how are your boys holding up? What are you guys doing? And that's what you're talking about, right, Mike?
Yeah, and what you do is you want to break down that conversation to where it's not business, to where they trust you and believe in you, but at the same time you want to control that conversation because you know that you got a job to do and you've got to talk to hundreds of people today, and you don't want to be on one call talking about their kids for 45 minutes. So get through that call fast, that part of it fast, in a caring way. But control that conversation and take the moments and turn that over to business. And that's the important part to do.
Yeah, and just for those of you who were just wanted to point that out, that whenever we talked about Lexington or college, that took less than 30 seconds, right? And whenever we talked about Austin and Alicia getting married, that took less than 30 seconds, right? I mean, it was, but it was impactful. It was personal. We didn't even plan that, man, and we were able to.
That's right.
To kind of demonstrate.
And
that.
then and then you
But
pick something else out of there, and that conversation, write it down, and that way when you call back, and all that does is it's helping you to get to know that person better too. And so conversations are hard to. It's hard to talk to someone over the phone when you don't know them and don't have anything in common. So you do one of two things. You go right to the guts and you get into business, and you kind of blow that agent off that way, and he feels offended, or her. And this way you become a real person. You start talking to them. You start caring about that person just as much as they start caring about you. And that's how you build those relationships. And then they trust you and they write business because they don't want to disappoint you, because they become friends with you. And I've always said that a person fills out a contract with us because we have a great product, and we've got the best products that we've ever had in the industry in all areas right now. So we're going to recruit a lot of agents, but they're going to write business for you because of the relationship that you build with them. And that, if I called you for the next 6 months, Brian, and you hadn't written a piece of business for me, pretty soon we've talked about a lot of things. We got to know each other. You're going to take that call and you're going to feel guilty that you haven't placed any business with me. And you're going to write that first app, realize how much we do and how great that the Integrity family takes care of that agent. And the next thing you know, he starts writing another case and another case and another case. And all of a sudden, he becomes one of your best agents out there. And because of that relationship you built.
Yeah, those are great points. I want to hit on two more points that you hit. And I'll just be really quick on this. One, you said, while you're talking to your agents, encourage them to think past this coronavirus thing, right? This is going to pass. We all know it's going to pass. And so think about what happens next, right? And so really what happens next is start buying leads now so that you're prepared. So when warmer weather comes and all those things, that you have clients to go get after as soon as everything opens back up, and it's going to open back up. And so that was just a great point there. And if nothing else, use technology like you talked about. We spend millions of dollars here on all of the technology platforms we've got. Use that to be successful. Yeah. The last thing you hit on that I think was really powerful is people are lonely, right? You said this at the very beginning. Yeah. People are a lot of times tired of sitting at home with their families. People now more than ever want to talk to people, especially with the social distancing. And so people are on the phone, and you can get a hold of people. I'm a hard guy to get a hold of because I travel so much. Turns out I'm not traveling right now, so I'm a lot easier to get a hold of. People used to think getting on the phone was inefficient. Man, people are made for community. Like humans are made for community. And part of that community, if you can't talk to people or see people because you're stuck inside your house, I mean, you can find that community just like on this call. So, Mike, thank you so much for joining us, man. I was completely blessed by this, and I love you. One of my favorite people in the world, and really appreciate you sharing. I know everybody else does as well.
Well, thank you, and Brian, for the opportunity to get a chance to talk to everybody. So really appreciate all the hard work and dedication that everybody's putting in right now.
Absolutely, we got the best team in the world, and we're having a great, we're just having a great year, and we're having a great month actually as well. And on Monday, and listen, on Monday, I am jacked up because we've got one of the busiest people, one of the hardest charging guys in our business is going to join us. One of the guys that has created a business from scratch to do over $250 million in premium this year. I mean, that's a shocking number, and one of the most inspiring people I have ever met in my life. And we're going to be joined on Monday by Sean Mike. Sean is the president, CEO, unbelievable leader of Family First Life, one of the hardest driven, most incredible people that I have ever met. In fact, Family First Life is one of the largest final expense and mortgage protection life insurance agencies. They also do a lot of annuities. Sean and his leadership team have built something that is just mind-blowing, and they are having record weeks right now, and they're going to have a record March. This is going to be the biggest March that they've ever had in their company's history. They're recruiting more people and adding more people through relationships, just like what you're talking about, Mike, here today. And so we're going to have Sean Mike on Monday. You do not want to miss that, and so can't wait for that. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us today. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Mike.
I want to leave everybody. With one quick thing. If you think about this, we really have a perfect storm going on right now. We've got the best products in the industry, some of the best products we've ever had. We've got some of the best technology we've ever had. We've got the best recruiters in the industry in the Integrity family. And what do we have now? We have all of the agents sitting around waiting for you to give them a call. If we told you that we could give you all the agents, and we know that's the hardest thing that is to get a hold of agents, right now is the easiest time that we've ever had in this industry to get a hold of an agent. So we ought to just be knocking it out of the park recruiting right now.
That's a great point, and you're exactly right. And people want to hear from you right now, so this is a great time. So, hey, thanks again, everybody. Thanks a lot, Mike. Man, you inspire me, man. Really appreciate you. Love you, buddy. Love you all, and y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy some time with your family. We've been given this gift of time to really take a moment to breathe in, to inhale, right, and just to kind of enjoy moments with your family. So, man, spend that extra time, spend this weekend with your family, have fun, and stay safe. God bless you guys. Take care and have a great one.